Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are maintaining a good immunity and keeping yourself healthy and safe during this pandemic. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar, Touchless Secure Entry Solutions in Post-COVID-19 World, powered by Bunidam. We are delighted to see such a fabulous response to this webinar. It helps us to keep ourselves motivated and tells us that we are covering the relevant topics. I thank you all for taking time out for being a part of this webinar. My name is Indrajit Sauji. I head the construction and design vertical for ITP in India. I'll be your host for today. I hope the audio and video are clear. If any issues with the communication, do let us know through the chat box. Our technical support team can sort it out soon. They'll get in touch with you. Let me start with a brief introduction about ITP. ITP Media Group is one of the largest foreign media companies in India. The group is headquartered out of Dubai and now publishes more than 100 weekly and monthly magazines and has a wide portfolio of market-leading digital and event properties. Some of our well-known global titles includes magazines like Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, Time Out, Cosmopolitan, Grazia, Construction Week, Hotelier, Architect and Interiors India, and more similar prominent titles across industry verticals. In India, we have 7 titles, including Construction Week. Construction Week is one of the largest circulated construction magazines globally with presence across geographies. We have editions in English, Arabic, and recently we have launched our Hindi edition to cater to a larger Hindi-loving audience. Let me come back to today's webinar topic. Today we are going to discuss on the topic touchless secure entry solutions in the post-COVID-19 world. Last 10 weeks have changed our world drastically. Not even in the last several decades we have transformed at this speed. 2 months back we were talking about touch screens, touch pads, touch and feel, human touch. But suddenly we realized that this touch is very dangerous. Our touch screens have more germs than our washroom floors. Our elevator buttons have more contagions than a toilet seat. A handshake can transfer millions of bacteria and viruses. And never ever in our wildest dream we have ever thought that because of touch the world would come to standstill, and that too for so long. Now since we have realized that the touchless is the new normal and we are gearing up to open up our economies, our offices, public spaces after a long gap, and we want to ensure we all stay safe and touch free. Technology is what we are looking at. When I heard about iris scan, palm veins, facial recognition, it sounded like straight out of a sci-fi movie. But it's going to be a reality now in our daily lives. Not to worry, we have subject experts today from whom we can understand and learn how can we adapt to all these technologies, keep ourselves safe from intruders as well as contagions. In this episode, Construction Week explores how architects, facade and security consultants, hospitality experts look at various biometric accesses. We want this session to be interactive and engaging, and we look forward to learn from our audience as well. For the audience, we are going to screen a poll during the session. The poll will be live on the screen for a minute. Request each one of you to cast your vote. Results of the poll will be shared in due course. In case if you have any questions during the course of the session, please feel free to ask them by using the question tab. We have a Q&A session towards the end of the segment where these questions will be answered. Please mention which speakers are these questions addressed to. We may take a few live questions as well. You may do so by raising the hand icon. My team and I are looking forward to all questions and will try to answer as many questions as possible. Now, without any further delay, let me introduce the eminent panelists to you. I would request the panelists to wave to the audience while I call out their names. Mr. Gautam Bhasin, Regional Head, Inhabit Group. Kozema Chitawala, Principal Architect Designer Group, Amit Sarkar, Regional Director South Asia Anivision, Captain Edwin Saldana, MD Bunidam India, Vinod Kapse, Director Kapse Consulting Engineers, Nitin Nagrale, Founder HPMF and CEO Quality NZ, Sudipta Ray, Senior Vice President Project Head K Raheja Corp. We'll be soon joined by Mr. Raman Sapru, President K Raheja Corp. Acha, Ramanji is here already. Okay. And I am joined by my colleagues Jayashree Mendes, Editor Construction Week, and Vibhor Srivastav, Group Publishing Director, ITP Media India. Now let me hand it over to Vibhor for further proceedings. Over to you, Vibhor.
Firstly, thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out to be with us on this afternoon, and a big thanks to very dear friend Edwin. I think this is a topic which really is in vogue, and I think nothing could be better to discuss today, this afternoon. A subject which has touched us, all of us, and the technology which will actually pave way to make us our lives safe and be better. And amongst the entire panel, I'm very intrigued to have Kozema, the only architect and the legendary architect in our forum. And he can't get away because he's been doing some enormous projects. And I think safety security is paramount to the projects that he's been dealing with. So Kozema, very quickly, what are some sectors willing to adopt touchless technology and advanced technology as far as doors and security solutions are concerned?
So Vibhor, thank you for bringing me in, because one thing is for sure, as far as your question is concerned, one thing is for sure, our new normal, all public buildings will have to be very, very, very consciously incorporate this technology. It will be mandatory probably as of moment we are out of this lockdown, that it will have to come to that level that everybody will have to go touchless. In case of hospitality, yes, we are already using it, but for example, revolving doors on sensors, those kind of things. We have got RF readers, we have got other things which are in terms of security and in terms of access control, all are being used very extensively. But this will all, to some extent, it will become mandatory rather than being optional. So something which is this technology will bring in is, for example, a lot of people till yesterday used lot of operators and even a lot of clients don't like revolving doors. But I think so today it is a must. It is a must that we should have a revolving door, because it gives us, it makes a lot of sense in terms of managing the energy conservation. It also helps us in going into touchless, and that too also it should be, it gives a seamless and a very smooth operation in terms of entry and exit both the ways. So similar kind of things will have to come in. There would be technology which will come in for check-in also, and other aspects of it, which is going to be an immediate available technology to be used in terms of access control. We are also debating in terms of public toilets. We are trying to figure out how do we do the door operations for the access control operations for the public toilets, because handles are also, door handles and knobs are also a big challenge in the time to come in the immediate environment. So we are already even trying to, I think so the companies are also trying to work out QR codes, using your own cell phones, using your own source of germs or microbials in terms of your own iPhone or phone, iPad or smartphones is something which is going to limit it. But touching human interventions is going to keep on getting reduced in terms of any access, in terms of any other areas also.
Very well. I think this is going to be imperative, and there is no escape from this. Indijit, would you like to take the next one?
Yeah, this one is to Nitinji. Nitinji, you have a vast experience with the hospitality industry, and you have the crown of launching HPMF Forum. you know the hospitality industry inside out. So want to know from you, how often do you look the hospitality industry must review its security and entry systems?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank ITP, Indrajit, and Mr. Vibhor for giving me this opportunity to be a part of this forum. My mentor, Mr. Raman Sapru, is also here, and I'm thankful to him. I worked for Sapru Saab almost 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago, at the Westin in Mumbai. So, Sapru Saab, hello to you, sir. So, as far as the hospitality industry is concerned, this is my 26th year in the industry, and the hospitality industry is dependent on the personal touch. The sheer soul of the business is how good are you with the customers, how do you address the guests, how well do you take care of them, and without the touch, that was not possible. But then this new normal, the coronavirus and then the COVID-19 has absolutely redefined the way we would be doing our business. All of the last 2.5 months have been wondering and worried that how do we run our operations if there is no touch. First of all, what's happening is it has drastically reduced the business which we will be getting. It has reduced the place which we had already. So because of the social distancing norms, we will be made to use lesser space than what we were using before. And also will have several restrictions which we didn't have it before. Every guest which gets into the hospitality industry has some of the other expectations from the hospitality industry in terms of hygiene, in terms of sanitation, in terms of security. So this is going to be so imperative and so important that anybody and everybody who would patronize a particular industry, a particular hotel, would be now not based on the quality of the food or decor or interiors, but would be dependent on the quality of hygiene, safety, security, and personalization in spite of not being, being literally in touch. So things like touchless technology will definitely come into picture. Products which will take care of hygiene, sanitation without disturbing the other customers, without also adding a lot of value for FF&E. Will be in demand, and the most important thing is a small little product like hand glove, a face mask has become the most important and top 10 items of any hospitality industry. So touchless is the future, and in new normal, if there are vendors who would be able to help us to recreate and utilize our own existing systems, allow a lesser cost involvement, and help us to still work on the operations, will be the king, and they will be one who will be having more in demand than people who come up with new products at higher value.
Perfect. Means like we completely agree and understand with your view. Now I'll go to Mr. Edwin. Sir, in your personal capacity, you have been the pioneer in bringing in a lot of entry-related technologies, entry systems to India. As Buridam, you are the world leaders in entry systems and access control. Just wanted to know from you, what are the various entry solutions you offer?
Thank you, Indrajit. We have a plethora of entry systems from a 1.8 meter revolving door to a 7.4 meter. And all these different types of door we have installed in India. Even a 7.4 meter door, which is very large and used in malls. Especially IKEA uses doors all over the world, and in India, in Hyderabad as well. So we have this, like I said, seamless movement of people moving into the building from a reasonable size of 2.4 meter, which is normally used in India, to 3 meters revolving door, where at least 30 to 40 people, depending on the size of the door, can enter and exit. So that's into two. So like 30 into 2 or 40 into 2 can enter and exit the building. So this is again without touching anything, without even queuing up. So in different segment is some sort of social distancing happening. But once you're in a building, of course, you also have to maintain that those distances. So we have this doors as well. And then when you come into a commercial buildings, we can have a security barrier, which is again integrated with a integrated with a tablet or integrated inside the unit as slim as 650 mm, what you call security barriers, which will have a facial recognition. So again, you can seamlessly pass through without having the fear of touching anything. The second thing what you can have is a QR code, which you just place or without touching the unit and pass through. And now the question come out about mask. So again, this stereo vision or what you call, sorry, I'm always going out to stereo vision because there's another technology to what we have. This facial recognition can recognize people with a mask as well. So like we have Amit on the show as well, probably he'll tell you more. And we have tied up with this company, which is worldwide tie-up with the Israeli company, which is AnyVision. And we have integrated the last 20 years, we are doing a lot of innovation with this technology into our products. So Budana being a 147-year-old company and counting, we are world leaders in trying to bring innovation into the market. And in this pandemic, what we are seeing, we have already rolled out this new system, and we can also retrofit our products which are already installed around the country with modification for facial recognition as well.
Wow, a vast array of solutions like for the upcoming like opening of various like commercial and hospitality related. Vibhor, you have a question, I guess. Like,
No, I just wanted to labor on Edwin Saab on this one. So you have like an installation, so you can scale up at the time when somebody really wants to scale up.
Yes, what we have is we have 3 factories worldwide. We have a small production in Mumbai where we have entry-level security barriers. All our revolving doors are imported from Netherlands. So we could scale up in the sense because all these are custom made because of color, the type of glass, the type of finishes. So it's not necessary that we can just roll out at once, but there is a minimum of 8 weeks we will take to actually produce a door. That is for the starters. And of course, even that in that time, I think you will have to redesign your whole entrance if you really want a seamless passage to a building with touchless. And of course, security barriers, if you want, we have already have, or if we have a security barrier, we can modify that barrier without having too many modifications done, means, tearing up things apart. But in the unit itself, place these, what we have card readers and the other access control systems, and you can have a seamless thing. Of course, you require a server which could be placed anywhere to have this facial recognition incorporated into the whole building management system.
Yeah,
so
indeed. Carry.
I guess you have like a video to show to explain it, like in case if you want to run that.
Yeah, we can show you a video where you can see a seamless entry and exit. And later on, probably we can just show another video which is animated. This is what all options we have. So Tejas, can you just play that video, please?
Yes, just a second, please.
Yes, that's good. So you see there are various capacities of revolving door, which can actually go up to 45 to 50 people entering the building at one time. And then you have, you see all the major airports in Europe, especially they have the revolving door. Unfortunately, in India, many consultant architects who design the airport prefer to put revolving doors because it's the study done by MIT Boston. It says that 70% energy is saved by revolving doors. But unfortunately, because we have this security system of checking at the gate, these are taken off the specs. So I don't know. I think now in the future we'll have to relook at all this, and more buildings can not only have this seamless entry and exit without touching, but also save a lot of energy, which is the need of the hour.
Thank you. They'll just take the very quickly to reach to Mr.
Before,
Gautam.
can I add something to
sure,
what
sure.
Edwin is saying?
Sure,
So
sure.
we have been looking for our greenfield projects. We feel that although the SOPs from a lot of brands have not come so far, but what we feel is that the ports are going to be much more larger and much more longer than what we have been designing earlier. And our security will not start from only from the, in terms of the security and health hygiene is not going to start at the hotel entry point, but it will start at where the cars are going to enter. So probably we might have thermal readers and probably digital facial recognition cameras, which will start monitoring the people who are coming there. From there onwards till the porch, and the porch, the distance between the entry and the porch is going to be a little, where the security is going to be done, we'll have to distance it out a little bit more, so that we will have to do that several levels of those stages of hygiene as well as security, and then let people enter into it. So revolving doors in future will have to be incorporated, because it gives us a control to certain extent in number of people who are entering into it, and at the same time it keeps the energy conservation factor in control in a very big way, especially for the greenfield projects which we are doing. We are thinking about it.
That's very interesting and very encouraging. I mean, thank you. Thank you. Because you wanted to say more, or you be done?
No.
All right. Now I wanted to reach to Gautam on this one. More specifically, your role as constantly, calls for research in new materials, design, and making prudent choices. What are some of the trends here and globally that you see? I mean, in this ever-evolving world now, Gautam.
Yeah, thanks, Vibhor, and thanks, ITP. I think it's a wonderful forum and sort of a really relevant topic that we brought to the table. In terms of materials, I think the ever-evolving selections are normally a knee-jerk reaction, pretty much, where you suddenly find one class of materials catching fire very easily. So we start venturing into what are the alternatives, what are the selections. One of the material gets too overdone, then you start looking at, okay, what are the alternatives there? So I think glass again is something we've been using for time eternal, but as we understand the material more, we start to exploit it from a technology point of view. So internationally and sort of regionally within Southeast Asia and Far East Asia, we've been doing projects more often recently that uses cold bend glaze technology. India per se, I think there's a general fatigue with aluminium. There's a fatigue with composite aluminium and solid aluminium. So people are sort of venturing away from it and starting looking at what are the other alternatives, which are more cementitious or masonry. So things like terracotta come into play, things like glass reinforced concrete come into play.
I would just think, why is such a departure that you see in terms of the product from aluminium so fast?
I think part of it is material fatigue. I think it's sort of used and overused in many ways. So I think people want to bring in a little bit of more freshness in their buildings, play with a slightly more diverse palette of materials.
Okay. Please continue.
So yeah, I mean that's sort of the landscape generally. I mean it's either need-based or a certain event that completely changes the landscape of materials being used. I think once we get out of this lockdown, we don't know exactly where the conversations would go next, where we might have some sort of finishes that prevent bacteria and viruses to sort of thrive on surfaces. What kind of materials will come into play, especially materials that have a touch and feel interface at ground floor levels, glazing solutions that have some kind of UV interface built into it. There was a very interesting conversation I was having with my colleagues in Hong Kong, where they now have started integrating UV lights in the belt that you hold on to in travelators and escalators. So it sits right at the base of it. So it's constantly disinfecting the surface that moves around, which is basically touched and felt by everyone. So I think the conversations will change gradually, and so will the material and finish choices.
No, I can't agree more. I think we would be amazed to see the kind of changes that are going to happen, especially this part of the geography definitely needs it. Let me get Amit. Amit, are you there? I'm just trying to locate
Yeah,
Amit.
hi. I'm there.
Awesome, awesome. So, Amit, very quickly, what safeguards are inbuilt into the AnyVision FR solution to protect privacy?
Okay. So when it comes to privacy, we at AnyVision, we are compliant with all global GDPR privacy norms. Okay, and when it comes to solutions, the solutions what we deploy, it is all in-house, on-prem, I will say. So the entire data is control of the client. As far as access control is concerned, the information security phase data is stored as feature vector. We don't store the faces, we store the feature vector of the faces. So once that feature vector is stored, we match the feature vectors and throw the output to the access control. And it is end-to-end encryption done from camera to the server. So it is 100% safe, I will say, when it comes to data privacy, as well as moving of a data from camera to server and server to access control.
And what has been your experience? I mean, certainly there is so many things that have happened around us, and so much is happening. What are clients talking about? What are they saying in this? I mean, where are they in the learning curve in this?
Okay, so to answer that, of late, I can see a lot of IT, ITS sector, banking, and all sectors are moving from touch biometrics, print biometrics, fingerprints, and everything to touchless. When it comes to touchless, the most stable, as well as I will say the confident solution what people are looking as seamless facial recognition, which should be well integrated with entry and exit of the building, as well as security is concerned. They also want to have a complete security solution which is integrated with their existing VMS or ICC setup what they have. So
Thank you. Yeah.
that into mind. So there are people who.
Amitji, sorry to interrupt you. Can you switch on your video? Your video is off, so people are not able to view you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, and audience was said there was one very great background, so they were missing. So now it is good.
Okay.
Amit, carry on. I think the people are listening to you.
So that was my answer. The solution what we provide is well integrated with the video management software and ICC software, which is their existing. And we use the existing hardware like cameras, servers, and provide the solution so that it can be retrofitted. No extra solution, hardware or camera required, and they can use facial recognition as one of the tools which is most trusted as of now for their entry and exit of their premises.
And also, I mean, I'm so tempted in terms of facial technology, and I think that also brings a lot of challenges. I mean, because this country hasn't been able to accept and imbibe and adopt this technology for a long period of time. So there is always a challenge that one sees it. And also the bigger challenge, and also in the cost part of it. Would you like to briefly touch?
Okay, so once upon a time, it used to be a challenge because there was no benchmark in terms of performance have been rated. But now there are different, governing body who benchmark the performance. And when it comes to pricing and the solution deployment, the pricing is well, acceptable by the customer. End of the day, what matters to them is the confidence. If 100 people are getting into the office, and what is the confidence level a FR solution or a vendor can provide that all hundreds are there in their database, or anyone else which is out of their database are moving. As fast as you can, pick up a person that, okay, look, this person is not in database, he entered, and the authority have been marked on that. They, people, accept those vendors to come and work with them.
Yeah, thank you, Amit. We'll circle back to you. Indrajit, you have a question?
Yeah, I'll take this to Vinod now. Vinodji, are you there?
Yes, hi.
Mr. Vinod, wanted to understand from you, how are biometrics better compared to conventional RFID cards reader?
Whoa, there are list of things that I can list down when you say the biometrics are better in terms of access technology compared to card readers. The primary being biometrics offer greater security, more productivity and convenience to organizations. As far as card readers, the problem of duplication of cards, maintenance of card inventory, changes in technologies, changes in card technologies, changes in encryption technologies, changes in reader technologies, manufacturer changes readers time and again, and maintaining all this in inventory of cards and managing these cards is a big concern. As far as biometric is concerned, it belongs to the person. It's very authenticated and easy to manage for big organizations who have large number of people working there.
So is it difficult to set up a biometric initially? I mean, or it's as easy as?
Absolutely not. I think it's as easy as maybe much simpler than you set up your normal card reader and access control card reader systems.
Perfect. Go to you, Vibhu.
Management, you can have central uploading of cards into the units. So whatever you do for a normal card-based access control systems, I think biometric is much simpler to handle and to manage.
And it would, Vinod, it will largely come in force where we got many number of staff members are there in terms of the application. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I'm going to very quickly get to Sudipta, and can I say? Oh yes, of course. Yeah. With touchless becoming the new norm, what are some such devices you would look at in your projects? Will it begin with entry points, and more importantly, that you'll do some amazing hospitality projects? What are your thoughts in this, and how is hospitality industry geared up?
Okay. I'll speak from the viewpoint, basically two viewpoints. Basically an architect, so I'll bring in some of the design issues in here as well. And I would like to bring in a bit of construction industry and the way we go about buildings. This is important for people to understand. Touchless, I think everybody's, been doing this whole new world. People have been learning about it. Most of the people here, whoever has joined the panels, and whoever is listening out, they all know many of the things now. But I think the basic point where it starts from is really the point of entry, which I have highlighted especially. There was a discussion about hospitality industry, revolving doors and all that. I would just bring in a different dimension because hospitality industry is a very controlled environment. Okay. There are other environments where, for example, I would even give an office examples of offices at the peak time in our city. I mean, we are all Mumbaikars, we know how the train runs. And similarly at the office, you have a huge rush of people. How people behave when revolving doors come together. Yes, it's great for controlling environment. Yes, it is great for segregated flow. It's great for social distancing in that sense. But sometimes maybe it may not be the solution because you have to handle peak flows. I'll also give another example, a design example, and this is going to be very gender specific as well. There have been, many of us have been looking around saying toilet, entryless doors, and you would have seen door uses as a foot pedal attached to a door and everything. I go back again and say that design has a context, and whatever products we are implying have to look at it. Particularly the foot pedal, which is being advertised in so many seminars, people look at it, say, great solution. Just think of women using it. So I think the lady here would understand well. It doesn't behave well with certain kinds of people. Their shoes are different. You can't use it to press it. There's a safety aspect. There's a tripping hazard. There's other things. So these things must be kept in mind, and particularly again coming back to the some of the other things which we talked about, the biometric attendance. The biometric, I think, is an excellent example where you handle, let's say, a very large scale industry, construction industry like sites, because we are talking about controlled environments. We need to talk about construction industries and sites where the entire industry is very, very different. The behavior is different. And I think biometrics could provide an excellent solution there, because proximity card readers, and today we are in a different world. We are even talking about tracking people, monitoring their behavior in the future, monitoring their presence throughout. If there's anybody infected, we are looking at that. We are trying to do all this manually right now with on all our projects which have opened up. But I feel that biometrics are conventional card readers, handlers, people switch cards, people lose cards. But biometric, as the gentleman pointed out, extremely individual. It is a great solution. It has to be looked at. And if you can add a platform to that, which sort of takes care and tracks the individual where it is, obviously it has to be done with a security responsibility. It can't be done in on-web environments, probably intrusive in certain formal office environments, but very useful in some other work environments. So that would be a great tool. Similarly, going down the line, I would say the biggest point of interface that we are looking about touchless as an interface here now are the elevators. Now, most of the panelists and people, again, listening in, would have attended a lot of these webinars where you have the elevator industry specialists coming in, talking about...
Sudipta, sorry to interrupt. Can you move your hand because it's covering your face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of these are, you could see them. The elevator industry has already been incorporating such solutions. And we think there's a perfect platform there where you could marry the touchless features of elevators. You don't have, in fact, modern elevators, nowadays, most of the elevators we are putting are destination control elevators. So in destination control elevators, if you have installed them, you don't go inside a cab and you press a button, or you don't press a hall button also. There's no, you do have a control touchpad. So one could easily think of replacing those control touchpads with, instead of using your fingers, you just go with a proximity card reader or, a proximity sensor. People are advertising mobile phones. You just walk into the lobby, use your mobile phone, turn the app on, and the app immediately reads the information. It has pre-stored, the elevator, the building intelligence system has stored your destination preferences. It probably reads you, or from the app itself, you simply set your floor, and the elevator group control system assigns you to the elevator. You just stand in front of the lobby waiting for the elevator to arrive. Elevator doors open, you go in, go out again. You haven't touched a door or any single button on it.
Very well, sir. Very well, sir. I just wanted,
I'll just add a final point to all this, because these are all endless topics. I would only make a sort of point that today the industry, as well as the design industry, as well as the suppliers, all the manufacturers and the people who do bring out this wonderful product, what they have to keep in mind is that all the solutions which are being provided or touted or being so highly discussed about now have to be robust and have to fit into the context and have to be affordable. Because you must realize that the cost cycle of a building, or even for a developer to put a building on ground, including implementing all these new technologies, is not going to be an easy choice. The market doesn't support growth in prices right now. And each of these measures we bring in has to mean a cost cutting somewhere or a something. So the system has to be robust. Anybody who's been in the security service industry has this experience. When you install security system in the building, how in the long run the systems do not function or are not, let me put it the other way, are not taken care of by residential societies. Probably commercial offices are better, they look after it well. So there are a host of challenges. So the industry which is getting into all this, it's a new dimension. We have to be all collectively more responsive and understand the context. in which we need to build in all this.
Sure thing. Sure,
Thank
Siddhartha. Very well. And I think I completely echo the sentiments in terms of robust, adaptable, scalable. I think these are the wonderful thing that's needed. And I think all the product companies, vendors, I don't like to say vendors. I mean, I hate this vendor. In fact,
Yeah.
Edwin has a smile on his face. And I think we love to call ourselves as a media company into partners, then we bring together solution.
That's a better word.
Yeah, we need more partnership at this moment. And I think we have touched everybody, and I want to very quickly go to Raman. Are you there, Raman? I can't see you on the screen. Just in case, then we could actually cover the first round. And
hi.
Hi, Raman. Such a pleasure to see you after such a long time.
Same here.
Yeah, and the questions seem to be jumping in the chat and Q&A, and I think Indrajit has a poll also, and time is just flying. But gentlemen and lady being there, we have enormous time and enormous appetite, and our audience are absolutely engrossed, in sync with us. So, Raman, very quickly to you. So that I've obviously said, there has to be, partners to come up with a solution which, as user perspective and as a developer perspective, should be robust, affordable, scalable, and many aspects of it, and especially the touchless. What are some of your thoughts? Because you work in different spectrums and different large organizations.
Thank you, Bibor, Inderjeet, and Jayashree for the opportunity. I mean, at the same time, I want to thank Nitin. So good to see him after so long over here. Now, coming back to your question, Bibor, there has been this change is a sudden change. The change was happening in the industry. It's not that there's something new is in the industry, but there's a sudden surge in the industry for demanding these touchless solutions. Now, if I take it a step back and I see the touchless was already there, it was in it was in our life. So it's not that it was not in our life. If I say today, Alexa, when we were using Alexas at home, or we were using Siri, or we were using any Google this thing. So it was all touchless. The things were going into that touchless. So, but the transition was very happening at its own pace. Now, obviously, there's a surge because there's a focus on health. Suddenly, there's a surge in this thing that people are looking for security solutions which are touchless and all. Now, this surge is, suddenly, if everybody comes together and starts looking for a particular thing, I'm sure there's going to be some scarcity. But given the manufacturers across the world, given our partners who have been here in this arena over here in this country, they have been here for them, and like Edwin is there, or others have been there. They have been here. So I don't think scaling up is going to be a problem. Scaling up is going to be quite okay. What I look more from perspective is the right solutions at the right place. So what happens, during these times, there's a lot of chaos and noise also. So everything comes, as Sudha said, somebody is putting that foot presser, and so you can open the door, and somebody is putting. So these type of things, so that noise has to be cluttered, noise has to be segregated out from this. So as far as the capacities of these, people are concerned, over here or across the world, I see it will cater to the needs. World has been changing, and it's no big deals that they will come up to the level where it is required.
Wonderful. I think, Raman, absolutely. I think earlier, whenever we used Alexa for something more of fun, and there was also certain flaunt value, but I think the world has changed, and I think embrace it technology, and the great panel I think is providing absolutely cutting edge technology. Indrajit, I can also see, sorry, Raman, you were saying something?
Yeah, you see, as you rightly said, it was more of a lifestyle than getting the necessity. Today, because the focus is health, so it has become a need. It's a need based today now. It's no more now just being a lifestyle.
And I think that as Indians, we don't compromise on two things. One is education and the other is health. I would like to believe so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do agree.
Yeah. And I think, my audiences must be really tempted, and there I see so many of it. Indrajit, can you quickly take the poll and then take
I'll just take the poll live. Yes.
And a couple of questions, and then Jayashree, you could take it subsequently from there.
Sure.
And I think the panelists the question is, do you think revolving doors are a good option for touchless? I repeat, do you think revolving doors are a good option for touchless? There are three options: no, yes, unsure. Panelists, you can also vote.
Meanwhile, I have a question coming up from Chetan Mahatre. This is open to all the panelists. Anyone can take it. He wants to ask, is it possible to isolate infected or symptomatic individual from entering the premise? Is this kind of integration possible using touchless and access control? So we have the poll results now, and like 63% are saying yes. Revolving doors are good options for touchless. 22% say no, and 15% are unsure. So probably we'll try to answer this in due course of the discussion.
Okay,
So, yeah, my question.
I can take this.
Yeah, please.
See, I mean, as far as the symptomatic patient is concerned, you know, your segregation today at the entry points is purely because of this thermal imaging you're doing. So you're not doing anything else today as of now by which you can segregate, and you can't have right now a automatic segregation where you can say okay yes and you're no, but it's more of a thermal imaging what you're doing, and you're seeing if the person is having certain temperature and above, and then you are just isolating him. So I don't think as of now there is any other solution, viable solution, which can be scaled up to an extent and is more pragmatic. So as of now, I don't see it anywhere, because you know, if you see aviation today, if you see hotels, if you see malls, commercial offices, everywhere you will need this. But right now, I don't think it's available, other than the thermal imaging.
Okay. To answer your question, Indrajit.
Yeah.
Aviation also provide contact tracing.
Okay.
So we are able to identify a person who is suspected, infected, or on a higher risk. We can able to trace a person from the entry point, and if the solution, inhibition solution, is applied on all the camera, we could able to find out the tracking of that person and with whom those the infected person has been dwelled and what is the dwelling time. So we are able to find out the person who is infected, his pathway, as well as the person with whom he has associated during his tenure in that office. So we could able to offer those solutions.
Great. And Amit, do you also have a facial recognition analytics to take care of masked faces? Yeah.
Yes, we do have the feature of identifying our face if wearing a mask, as long as face is 50% visible. The technology what we use, neural net, is that we capture 600-point features of a face. So we could able to identify a face which is 50% occluded, 90% to and fro or U and low.
Anything, Amit, in terms of skin, you see a challenge? Anything?
Skin in the sense the black and white, or you want to know whether the person is wearing what color of dresses?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we do that. You can identify or track a person on the age, on facial features, as well as the attributes, what he is doing, what he is wearing, backpacks, or he's wearing a jacket or carrying a bag. All these attributes we are able to capture and match with the face.
Perfect. I have Manthan Patel. I'll just quickly take him live for a short question, and then we can continue with our discussion. Manthan.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, please introduce yourself and ask.
Yes, sir. So basically, I would take very less time. So the thing is, people are now into a lot of hand wash. So there's going to be a lot of water consumption, right? So 20-second hand wash is going to be a lot of water consumption. Plus, they say that a sensor faucet should be used for a touchless contact. So what I'm saying is sensor faucets, the reliable ones for for the ones which actually last longer, are very less in the market, because if at all they are available, they are very expensive. So right now people have moved into foot pedal stations, hand wash stations. So the thing is, foot pedals are also the same thing. They last for about 5,000 to 10,000 cycles, and that's it, it's gone. So now people are into developing heavy duty hand wash stations with products which are imported from the USA like TNS, and they are tested up to 1 million plus cycles, which is converted into 10 lakh plus cycles. So I think that should be used, and they have a low flow rate faucet as well. So it has a flow rate of 1.8 liters per minute, which is suitable for a 20-second hand wash, and you consume only about 200 to 300 ml of water. So that is conserving water plus a no contact solution as well. I think this will be the new norm in all the entry points. Like now we have all the metal detectors for checking guns. And now in the future, we'll be having these foot pedal heavy duty hand wash stations to wash your hands and then enter inside malls or anywhere, because people are going to touch each and everything once they enter into a public place.
Perfect. No. Anyone would like to add? Yeah, Sudipto.
Yeah, I have just a couple of points. I think this particular question was very relevant. Thank you for that. There is something where, we talk about consumption of less water. I think we have to, and there are plenty of solutions here. I think we have to go beyond water. It depends on air. Everything, there are vacuum pressurized air bursts, okay? And this happens in anything. You think of space, you think of other industries, you think of the aeronautical industry. There are many industries which avoid the use of water altogether when sanitizing your hands and doing other things. So those are the kind of new technologies which would come in, have to come in, because you can't, and very correctly says, you have faucet problems, you have sensor problems, you have foot pedal problems, you have life cycle problems, everything. There has to be new technologies evolved, which will be beneficial, because that helps cut down on the entire cycle of the water consumption of a building.
Absolutely right, Mr. Ray. I'm sorry to interrupt here, but then the concept is to look into the long-term operational costs.
Correct.
So the thing is, when people invest in a high capital investment, that is only a one-time investment, and that is going to last for 6 to 7 years without any problems. Plus, a company like TNS is going to give you spares for each and every small things available in the market for that particular product alone. So you get each and every spares which are replaceable, and the long-term cost is going to be very less because the consumption of water is going to be controlled. Plus, it's a maintenance-free product as well. So it's like, buying a product which is capital, the cost, the initial cost is high, but then the long-term operational cost is going to be beneficial, and the ROI, the return of investment, is going to be very short in terms of like 2-3 months. You can actually get back what you invested in the initial stage.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think,
Thank you. Yeah, over to you, Vibhor.
I guess you wanted to have another one, or then Jayashree can take
Do
it
we
over.
Do we have time? Should I take?
Yeah, take it up, so then we can go with complete flow.
Sure. Rohan, the other one you want to? Hello?
I think he's offline as of now.
No worries. So we'll continue with the. Mr. Edwin, you have a video to be played here. Like you want to showcase something, like before we start with the second round of questions.
Show animation what we are talking about when you enter the building to you get into a public building, commercial building where security barriers, where everything should be touch free. So it's something which you just like to demonstrate. Of course, many people on the panel as well. Just mentioned there are possibilities where they already have this solution, but again we are now going to a new level where we want to have touchless sort of thing. So,
Rohan, can you play the animated video, please?
I would just like to add, Mr. Sudipta had mentioned, our systems are also integrated with when you enter the turnstiles. And you can also be guided to the nearest elevator. It will tell you which elevator is waiting for you. So again, this can be a seamless process. And yes, cost is one factor. It all depends on how we configure the system. And for the mass deployment, cost will be also a concern, especially now with a lot of retrofits. But if you see that, without disturbing the aesthetic of the system, we can easily retrofit the system, especially the security barriers, to see have a seamless entry into the building or exit as well.
Yeah, Jayshree, you can take it up now.
I would like to ask Cosima. Cosima, as an architect, you look at ergonomics, when you're dealing with clients, you look at aesthetics. How do you balance both?
So, hi Jayshree. Jayshree, as an architect, we have to balance both equally. Both are equally important. But in which area are we specific? Trying to be specific. Can you be a little more specific in which area you would like me to address that?
So I'm looking, or you're looking at installations for a particular home or a hospitality sector. So how would you balance the aesthetics part of it? And like all the installations may not be aesthetically pleasing, but then they're ergonomically very they're good.
So we got to find the right balance. We have to find the right balance. For example, there are right balance in terms of there is a third aspect to it also. There is that is the cost budget. So everything which looks beautiful probably is not cheap or economical or it could be expensive also. So we have to, as a project and as a designer, we need to find the right balance for it. Let's take a very simple example since we're talking about security. The ergonomics of any kind of revolving doors which we are referring to are the same. But at the same time, you need to understand the number of people who are going to walk in and walk out. So the right size of door selection is very, very important for it. Now, for that right size of door, you need to pay money to bring in that. So there has to be a budget constraint to it. Apart from that, to make it look to make it match with your aesthetics, you can do various kind of finishes. You can have even frameless glass doors which are available with Bunadam. So I would say that it has to be a very balanced call as a designer what you require it, but as it is very importantly it is written in our books, in our codes of practice. Function follows the form, form follows the function. So you can't have function follow the form. You need to have the function incorporated into your designs first, and then you look at it in terms of aesthetics.
Thank you, Cosima. Can I move over to Nitin? I don't see Nitin. Yeah.
I'm here.
Nitin, just extending on what Cosima was talking about, we as procurement is a very crucial policy in the hospitality sector. Once you have your installations, they're all expensive things. How would you look at balancing? I mean, how would you look at distinguishing between various brands? And decide, because a lot of people approach you. So how do you look at which brand is best for which hotel?
Yeah. Okay. This is a story which takes us behind to about 2008, wherein security wasn't as important as what it became after terrorist attack. So suddenly people started checking anybody and everybody, and there was nobody who was considered as safe. So there was DFM, the door frame metal detectors came in, baggage scanners came in, handheld metal detectors came in. In fact, we started checking the goods and services also at the receiving area. So what happens is, as soon as there is something which goes wrong, like this pandemic which is coming now, so there will be new things which will come in. So if you talk about this touchless technologies, there were some which were in existence already, but there will be hundreds and thousands and crores of other companies which will come to place now. And this credibility which they have achieved or developed in the minds of the people, unless there's someone who comes in with a technology which is extremely different, is affordable, is easy to understand by everybody, and easy to follow, implement, retrofit. If all these elements, it will be easy for a buyer and an engineer to look for it. Now, there will be certain aspirational products wherein a brand, say, I'll give an example. If a hotel is following a particular international standard in, say, America, then they would want to have something similar to be followed all over. So the headquarters is a major source of information, and these are the people who would decide what brand, what product, which will be used where. So it's going to be important that it's not just going to be one person like the procurement director, but it's going to be a collated, collective decision-making process, which will primarily come in from the headquarters or the think tank members who will create a brand, who will create the type of product. They will also define the specifications which will be required for particular type of hotel. So it's going to be different for 5-star super deluxe, 5 stars. It could be different for 4-star, 3-star, and even to certain restaurants and catering companies. So based on the the type of outlet, the products won't be varying, as long as they provide the minimum requirement of touchless technology. They follow things which are determined and the normal and the new age, which kind the new life, which hopefully will be getting in next 1 or 2 months. The hospitality industry is really suffering, and all of us are really struggling to put our foot back on floor. All of us are expecting that if there is no revenue, then how do we spend money towards all this, which is going to be an additional cost? There is a huge cost, huge planning which is happening at this moment, wherein we are wondering that how can these suppliers like Captain Edwin or the other gentlemen who are here, how can you all help us to make it really happen rather than pushing the opportunity? So all of us will have to sit together and collectively help each other. So then it becomes a norm for the industry, and as long as it becomes a milestone and a benchmark, I'm sure anybody and everybody would like to follow that.
Thank you, Nitin. Gautam, if I could come to you, I believe you worked on the Terminal T2 project.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yes. Gautam, considering that there had so many stakeholders involved in it, how many hundreds of vendors, how did you as a facade consultant look at balancing cost, price, everything, and also
I think
quality?
Right. I think the answer lies in the question itself. It's basically those 3 elements that you need to juggle. It's, I think we all need to be mindful about the budgetary constraints, because, at the end of the day, if the solution is unaffordable, it's no good to be tabled on. It's no good to be labored on or spend time on. So again, trying to keep in mind the cost of the solution that's eventually being developed. What are the performance aspirations, and then trying to strike a balance between the technical aspects of design, the architectural aspects of design, within a certain budgetary constraints, and the performance that we get at the end of the day. So I think it's about having the constant dialogue between all stakeholders. So you'll have multiple technical stakeholders, you'll have multiple consulting partners that you'll have on the table, you'll have the program partners who will be managing the project, you'll obviously have the ownership which will be investing in the project. So I think trying to lend a ear to all of them, lend a speaking platform to all of them, and make sure that all the concerns are heard, and we try and find a point of overlap where we think the right solution lies, and then we try and generate options based on that.
But then such projects always see cost overruns, such large, huge projects. They're not going to stick to cost. Is there some way, you look at, I'm just asking this. Do you look at ways of cutting corners or somewhere, so you adjust cost somewhere?
Cutting corners might be a slightly inappropriate word to use. Obviously, nobody wants to cut corners so that you have impacts on performance or the eventual design life of the building. But I think obviously trying to have some kind of buffers built into the design, so it may allow, it may allow you to actually absorb any escalations in costs, which could be because of material cost escalations. It could be because of specific hardware not allowing you to achieve the specification, which might have to be spec'd up, which again may mean that you might have to spend a little more money. So I think trying to build in a little buffer in your design, which you can then sort of adjust or tune to the cost correctly.
Thank you, Gautam. Indrajit, your next question would you like to take one?
Edwin wanted to make a comment. Yeah.
To answer Nitin and Gautam's the answers, I mean, to just add to it, it's very important. We are in the business of supplying capital goods, a revolving door, turnstile, security barrier, whatever you call it, for this security and seamless entry and exit into the building. Most important thing is the reliability of the product, how the product is installed, how it is maintained and serviced. We have installation in India which is about 20 years old, and we have no problems at all. In fact, we have not replaced parts. So if the reliability is there, you can get your money's back, money's worth, without struggling to maintain the product right from second year or third year or whatever it is. So that's the most important thing. And again, we are here to partner any developer, any hotel owner, to see that, even in this downtime, this is the best time to do retrofits, the best time to change whatever you need, because your entry into the buildings will be lower than usual. You will have less guests into the hotels. So it's the best time to start renovating. And of course, we can extend commercially. Our company is also good in extending help. And it all depends on what the parameters are, So we are there to help. Like Nitin said, we can sit across the table and extend a helping hand.
No, absolutely. I think this is a brilliant initiative, and I think we at ITP in Bunidam, we work very closely, and always have been a big admirer of Edwin. I mean, the way he has come up, and not only as somebody truly who really values partnership and who comes up with ideas and platforms. So thank you, Edwin. I just wanted to say a quick one, and I want to just come to you. Thank you, sir. There is obviously a lot been talked about with localization becoming a chant. How do you plan to meet the challenges of convincing consumers about the excellence of your products? I mean, we understand, but in the situation around, how would you really advocate? And advocate would be a strong word, but how would you tell consumers?
Sorry, is that for me, Vibhu?
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We are a very old company. We say we have survived so many years, 147 years now. This is a 147 year running. We have a good setup in this country. We are doing local products over here for the entry level security barriers. We have service engineers all over the place. In fact, in Bangalore, we have 4 service engineers. That is the biggest install base. We have in Delhi, we have in Hyderabad, we have in Chennai, we have in Bombay. We service Pune from Bombay. So we have new technologies coming up. Like I said, we are good to retrofit. And our product reliability is very, very good. So if somebody is buying a product from us, it can be rest assured that minimum 20, 25 years, he doesn't have to worry. Like I said, the oldest installation in India we have is 20 years. So that speaks volume of the reliability of the product. And like I said, always a door will give you trouble. A door, a window, which you open and shut, or something is going to give you trouble. If it's not done well, it's not fixed right in the first place, First time right is the motto of us. So if we don't do it right, and if we don't even try to maintain the product right, you're going to have problems. So we can give you cost saving in all these parameters. And that is the most important thing.
Absolutely. I think there's no second chance. And I think with such a great legacy and a great knowledge bank and a great product line, I think it's really good. And, gentlemen, I just want to now straddle across to each one of you, hungry to understand a kind of a messaging that you would like to give to this industry. And you are cross-functional to the industry. What is the key messaging that you will give in this current COVID world and post-COVID world. And let me get my friend Cosima to begin with. I hope I'm just looking from each one of you that small messaging that you would like to say, maybe a word, a 30-second kind of a thing. What is that you want to convey to the industry?
So I think so. My opinion on this is that we are already at the threshold of a new normal once we are out of this lockdown. But we should not rush, because there is going to be a new normal to a new normal once the vaccines are out. So which will be very soon be out, and I think so we need to give a pace. We need to absorb what is going to happen and then take a move on it in the industry.
Edwin, can I get you, your take?
Yeah, like, I mean, I agree with all the concerns of all the panelists over here. I think the major part is over here is everybody will be frightful of how much expenditure is going to take place when there is no revenue. So we have to be mindful of that. But at the same time, if you get something into the building, like I say, the capital cost, and if it lasts you for a good lifetime, I think that will bring a lot of benefits in terms of not only seamless entry and exit, but also energy saving. That is one part of it. And again, your security part, which is again a big concern in our country, again, trying to restrict unauthorized person getting in and getting out. Especially we have even specialized security revolving doors in R&D centers, in certain areas where people are restricted to enter. So we have this technology where piggy bank and tailgating is avoided. So these technologies are there, and if somebody has to use it, because a lot of businesses supposed to come to India now after this pandemic, and there is a lot of talk about companies trying to set up. If things go well, I think it's a boom time for us. I said this is the best time to start retrofitting and changing what you want, because it's a lean time now. People are not going to get into hotels. There are less people coming into the buildings now until it, like Kozama said, the vaccine will be out again. Everything will probably get back to normal. But I think it will take some time for us to adjust what we have all gone through, because everybody is paranoid about what is happening around.
No, I completely agree. I mean, there's so much while we may be talking, but there's so much of uncertainty in front of us. Vinod, I just wanted to your take, and also more than the messaging, you wanted to say a few things. Vinod, can you unmute your mic, please? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, basically what I would like to say is you should not think of rushing in now. And every individual and every management as a company has to think that you should not be the first one to start. You should not take it that way. You should give that comfort to your employees, wait, and then wait for the new norm. As Kozema rightly said, what is today may not be the new normal. There may be something else coming in coming further. So you should look at safety of your employees and ensure that the environment that you are placing them in is safe, rather than asking them to wear a mask. I'm not sure whether putting on mask for 8 hours, anybody could sit in an office and work for 8 hours putting a mask on. So look at other MEP systems where we design HVAC disinfection systems. The seating arrangements are taken care, so that you give employees the comfort of working, and as well as being safe. That's what I would say to this.
No, absolutely, Vinod. I mean, very well said. And Amit, can I get you in? I think you are holding such an important portfolio, and you're giving technology which are going to change the lives of people, bring security, safety, and all of that. Amit, can I have you in this?
Yeah.
And I want to see your background also.
Sorry, I have some
no worries. I was just kidding. So please,
fluctuation in my internet at home.
Okay, so, no. I just thought you wanted to, but that's completely fine, because that was very refreshing. But nonetheless, carry on, please.
Yeah. So we AnyVision provide this computer vision capability, and our product deliver them in a way that the customer experience as more reliable, more accurate, and a faster than alternative. We are dedicated our technology and focusing our company to help frontline organization continue to safely deliver care and service, and to help protecting and support business that face increased risk. That That will be my message right now to everyone. And we are with Boon Adam, and we would like to serve our partners, our customers, and provide the best solution which can be retrofitted as of now and help the society. That will be a message from Amit Sarkar and Animation.
No, very, 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 encouraging, very heartening, if I may say so. It's, so heartwarming messaging that you gave. And Nitinji, your thoughts, and I think your industry is really, really hit. Not to say that the whole real estate is literally bleeding, but I think, I've known him for many years now, and as a hospitality professional and a great gem of a person, how is your messaging? And please increase your horizon of messaging apart from the hospitality, because you have a great passion to be omnipresent, if I may say so, with your great personality.
Oh wow. Thank you. If you tell me to come out of my comfort zone, so I consider this COVID-19 scenario as very, very important for the human being. This has gotten a lot of self-realization that we were not gods. There was somebody beyond us and somebody who was controlling us. We just took everything for granted. We felt that what we were doing was right. We felt all luxuries which we were experiencing were important. We also felt that what we were feeling, touching was the norm of the life. But then this COVID-19, a small little fellow came in and it said, guys, please hold on, pause your life. You need to start learning that the basics have to be right. So everybody is sitting at home, everybody is eating homemade food, nobody is wearing fancy clothes, none of you are wearing suits and jackets, nobody is driving vehicles, nobody is traveling in airlines, nobody is getting into 5-star hotels or any other fancy restaurants, and still are alive. So point I make is all of us will have to thank God that if our basics are right,
Looks like Nitinji, I'm going to hold you for a minute because it looks like you have a little longer problem in terms of the audio. But whatever you're saying was something very, very interesting for us and the audience. Let me, till such time, get Sudipta into it from his messaging, and Nitinji, I'll conclude with you. So bear with me.
So I would say just be human. We have a global crisis in our hands, and here in the industry, the real estate industry and the construction industry, we have witnessed a tremendous suffering of the working class, the labor, the migration issues, which we are here at. But we have been able to, at least we have been witnessing this firsthand, because at all our sites, our workforce consists of labor and all that. We have the industry has made its best efforts to help out, reach out to such people. But I've been firsthand also looking at, even despite all the help, reassurances, all that, there's a tremendous emotional suffering which people go through. And the results of that is seen. They have all left, most of them have left, and there's going to be a huge, huge impact on the entire construction industry as such. Because until and unless these partners at our work come back, we are not going to be standing on any solid ground till then. So it's a long struggle ahead. So my message right now, and the same with all our colleagues, perhaps we are more privileged. We work in more secure places. We stay in more safe environments. So my message to people is that if you have to implement and understand all that we have been discussing, all this, be human. If you are human, you understand the needs of people, then only you'll be able to implement design, then only you'll be able to implement solutions. Be human and contribute to people and contribute for the betterment of people who need your help in these difficult times.
Very well. Very well. Thank you very much. And before I get to Raman and Gautam, Indrajit, can you take the question, because it will be very, very unfair, because there are so many questions that I see. Can you take one? And I hope the panel will agree with me. And I come back to Gautam and Raman. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'll try to take Kritika live. Rohan, can you help me to take Kritika live? And meanwhile, you can put up the second poll also, so the audience can keep voting while we have Kritika posing a question. Hello, Kritika, are you live? Hello?
I think she went offline.
Yeah, Kritika, yeah, we can see her.
Yeah, hi. My name is Kritika, and I am a director at Cosine Labs. Cosine Labs is a prop tech company. And so my question is more around technology and prop tech specifically for real estate at this point in time. The question is primarily for Mr. Sudipta. However, any of the esteemed panelists can answer it. We develop FR solutions, right, for access controls that caters to real estate, specifically co-living at this point in time and offices. But we wanted to understand what really goes into the evaluation of facial recognition systems, especially for developers. Now, we talked about the fact that it will become commonplace, that it will become an essential commodity, and we also talked about cost, quality, adoption, etc. Retrofit is a must anyway. But realistically, like we're talking about the next few months, days, in fact, realistically, this mass adoption of FR technology, how soon do you see that being implemented, especially given that we have a moral obligation to make sure that users are completely comfortable. Once we begin mass adoption of FR technology, it means that it will already be imposed. What are the major concerns that you see users having at this point in time, and what is the one deciding or two deciding factors from a developer's perspective for adopting FR technology at this point in time? So both sides, from the real estate developer's perspective as well as from the user's perspective. That's what I would like to know.
Okay, so I'll just take this back to something I said before. It's something which you are saying, facial recognition technology, and how soon can be implemented. So the answer is, I don't think it is going to be soon, because the real estate industry has a very strong habit of assessing and poring over every detail that it does. It doesn't do so. It's not easy. Let me put it this way. We are not easily convinced. We are very difficult to convince. Okay, and there are multiple reasons for that. Whoever works with us understands that. We are obviously interested. We would like to do that. But as I said, the systems have to be very robust, and they have to come to us easily and be implementable. Is it something, because if you understand your question, I think I'll answer your question in two folds. Is it immediate? Well, you understand this, that the industry is reeling under the onslaught of so many things. People, and in the real estate industry, developers are actually looking in the other way, how they can cut down some unnecessary cost, but at the same time provide value. Now, if facial recognition technology and the easy implementation and the robust thing, it is there, and it fits within a certain cost and purpose, and the most important thing, it adds some value to the whole thing, then yes, people would be interested in looking at that. I'm going to save something on unnecessary expensive finishes where we could do so, and invest in more of these features, which we are doing so. Because in our offices today, in the midst of COVID, we are constantly discussing Elevate touchless solutions, how to implement in design. And we are actually going into designs, looking and reviewing back our design. So I think there's a distinct possibility, yes. Whether it will happen soon, difficult to say, but it all depends on how the service solution providers and partners are coming up with solutions.
Wonderful, Indrajit, and I think you ran a poll. Would you like to show the results, and then I can take it?
Yeah, Rohan, the results, please.
Yeah, so the question was, would you choose a revolving door at your organization or office building instead of a regular one? And the clear answer is 53%. Okay, so I'll now quickly, I was seeking for those 30-seconder, and I think Nitinji, are you audible loud? Is your mic working? Nitinji?
I hope it works.
Yeah.
Sorry for it. Yeah.
No, आपने बिल्कुल सच्चाई से रूबरू कराया था, तो please go ahead.
Yeah. So मैं ये कह रहा था कि हमारे अगर बेसिक्स राइट हैं तो सारी चीजें सही होंगी. So all of us need to thank this small virus called COVID-19. It has also gotten so much of importance to this supply chain department which was considered as a support department, and now suddenly it's gotten to the forefront. And I, as a supply chain professional, would really want to consider this opportunity to showcase the brilliance which supply chain professionals have been able to do it. So in last, say, 60, 65 days, certain things were not working, but then what was working was the supply chain. And I'm thankful to all of them who worked overnight, also the frontline workers. Along with them, they have been able to get things back in place. This is just a temporary phase. All of us need to understand we always have ups and downs. We always have something or the other, though not to this level which has happened to any mankind in the world. It's worse than the world wars which has happened in past. But I'm sure, I'm a positive person. We will have better days. I'm very sure we will come back, bounce back, and do better than what we were doing. It has also given us an important time to know our own family members well than what we knew. I'm talking about me, myself. I think I know my family better than what I knew. I took them also for granted for some time. But then now I know that I need to do things in some particular manner than what I have done in past. So it's a lesson for all of us, I think. So all of us will have to move forward, considering that let us not take anything for granted from here on.
What do I say? I think everybody is nodding. And I think two more things have happened, knowing the family and one getting into yoga and cooking. Yeah? But that's on the life. So two things that I'm sharing my things happening with me. All right. So Ramanji, coming to you now, give us something, to the audience, that they can mull over the weekend and days to remember. Raman, can you unmute your mic? Yes.
Thank you, Bibor, again. I mean, nothing prescriptive, but I have three things to say. The first thing is post-COVID, focus on health. That's the first thing. Second is, lead the change or help in leading the change. That's very important. And third important piece is reimagine the future. So there is a lot of things which are going to change. There's a lot of good things which are going to stay. So whether it's a workplace, you have to think in a reimagined way. If it's your own life, you have to think in a completely in a reimagined way that many things in your life are going to change and are going to permanently change. So my these are my 3 bits. Focus on health, lead the change or help in leading the change, and reimagine the future.
Very powerful, very powerful. And Gautam, and you being such a great professional there and bringing some world-class technology, building facades that I think we all love and enamor with. What is the key message to the industry that you would like to say?
Well, I'll try and pick up some gems from the other panelists I have here, some really wonderful messaging. But I think one thing that I heard recently, which sort of stayed with me, and I'll quote Churchill here, never let a good crisis go to waste. I think this whole pandemic has really shown us the mirror and has really made us aware of the fragilities in the system, which could be right from how we design our buildings to how we construct our buildings, who are our stakeholders. They may be migrant workers, they may be our own fraternity partners, how do we procure materials, etc. So I think there have been a lot of volatilities that got exposed quite clearly with this. So I think not letting this crisis go to waste, I think it's obviously time for us to reel back, which we all are. I think we're all in the comfort of our home. We're trying to rethink how the profession should work from now on. I think it's about trying to create better living environments, better living spaces. Funny that I was speaking to somebody that Bombay got rid of all the balconies because of the new DCR. I think everybody's missing those balconies now because you can't really step out of your apartment. So I think those are the pointers, really. I mean, you really need to get back to the drawing board and see how we can make a positive difference to everybody's life, people who are design professionals, to people who actually put brick and mortar together to create the spaces we live in.
What do I say? I mean, this is wonderful panel. I think one would have never been able to, devour more than a session like this. And the testimony of the fact and the bottom screen tells you there are 99 plus in chat. There are so many questions. There are so many participants. So audience, I have to thank you because before I think, my wonderful person behind the conference, Rohan, who builds up these lovely slides. So Rohan, can you bring this slide down because I want to see my panel? Yes. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, actually a big thank you from all of us here. I think panel has been unanimously in consensus, and Edwin, big thank you for Bunidam, for partnering and also helping us co-create such a meaningful topic, which allowed us to get such a knowledgeable panel and where we saw the knowledge sharing at the highest level and a most credible platform that we could create. I think it is important that we must adopt technology. We must do everything possible to stay ahead in the curve. But there is a lot of realization that is happening. And if you protect your Mother Earth, I mean, Nitinji, just echoing with you in a different way, if you protect your soil, your Mother Earth, the water, which are the basics in life, rest everything can stand on its own. So you need a strong foundation to build anything. So I think as human beings, and in this part of the geography, we definitely work on partnership. As Mr. Edwin said, at the end of the tunnel, we hold hands with each other is more important. Everything else will be absorbed, inculcated, adopted, learn from each other, as Gautam said, better living, better designing. But just getting onto the crux of the topic, it is inevitable, it is imperative that you have to have this touchless, and this technology will be the winner for sure. But at the heart of it, I think if we stay together, work together, be one cohesive team, be one force, believe in each other, support each other, stand for each other, I think we will all come as winners. And like you said, one quote, Gautam, I'm tempted, I heard somewhere, and I loved it. And this is from George C. Lichtenberg, a German physicist. He said, I cannot say whether things will get better if we change. I repeat, I cannot say whether things will get better if we change. What I can say is they must change if they are to get better. So ladies and gentlemen, I 100% believe in this, and I'm sure you will second to this fact. And I want to tell that, this whole ITP and the whole organization, the team Indrajit and Jayashree and lots of us who are trying to work to bring these content to you, bring industry together, is one such initiative. This is one big initiative that we are trying to do so that we get answers. We get answers, we come out with something innovative, we do something experimentation and keep that spirit on. So thank you once again. I won't take much of your time. The watch is really running fast, but I just was enjoying the session. Anybody want to say any parting notes? Otherwise, I'll wind up. I want to thank all my team members behind Rohan and everybody in marketing who have really done great work. And Indrajit, Jayashree, and all of us from here, thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Edwin wanted to say something. Edwin, you want to say something? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Before I wanted to say thank you because
Yes, Edwin.
initiated the discussion. You never saw the cost what we were going to shell, and it was more of an initiative to see that the message goes out to the industry. So this is something which is incredible from your team, from Jayashree, from Indrajit, and from you. I also want to thank all the panelists. We had very short notice. Some of them came on board just today. Vinodji, Kapse Saab, aap came, couldn't get you earlier. Sudipta. So we had a lot of people who were willing and really helped us to have this session. Great. Aman Saab, also you were not there, but you came, and that's a big thank you for you, from all of us who have supported this initiative. I think we're there to support you, and I know a lot of panelists have spoken.
No, absolutely. Those are the golden words, Edwin Saab. I think this is all partnership that we're doing. So thank you once again. And let's keep the thread of this discussion. And, we will work another sequel because there's so much of knowledge here. So let's do another one because I still believe there is a lot to do and a lot to talk and a lot to
find some new topic now, I think.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you to ITP and thank you to all the wonderful people who have been listening in to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.